Hey everyone, welcome to another weapon guide for Monster Hunter World Iceborne. This time it's for the Insect Glaive. The Insect Glaive is a melee weapon that primarily deals cutting damage, and can freely vault into the air to utilize aerial moves. Like its name suggests, you can also control an insect companion known as a Kinsect to help you in battle. Before we move on, here's a brief look at the chapters that I am going to cover in this video. As usual, I play the game with a mouse and keyboard using base world default keys. Check this table for the equivalent keys if you use the Iceborne default keys, or a controller. Now, let's move on to the guide. The first chapter will be all about your insect companion, the Kinsect, which is an important part of the weapon that sets it apart from other weapons. First, let's look at what a Kinsect is and what it does. When you equip a glaive, you will also automatically be equipped with a Kinsect which will rest on your right arm. To change the Kinsect of your choice, simply change it like how you would change a weapon under the weapon category, because it will not show up as a separate category when changing your equipment. Yes, this means that there are different Kinsect types with different looks and stats, but I will talk about that later. With your weapon drawn, pressing the slinger aim button will not aim the slinger and clutch claw like other weapons, but will be a Kinsect aiming mode instead, and you can move around freely. To toggle between Kinsect aiming and slinger aiming, simply press the focus camera button while aiming. This will allow you to fire your slinger or clutch claw with your weapon drawn. If you have trouble doing so, you can sheath your weapon so that aiming always gives you the slinger aim. Now back to the Kinsect aiming mode. While aiming, left mouse will manually send the Kinsect flying out towards where you aim, and this move is known as Harvest Extract. While the Kinsect is away from you, right mouse while aiming will manually recall the Kinsect back to your arm. This can be done endlessly, and can be done freely at any direction while moving around. Using left mouse again while the Kinsect is already out there will make it fly towards where you aim each time you click again. Do keep in mind that there's a limit to how far the Kinsect can fly when controlled this way. When your weapon is sheathed, pressing this button will also ready your weapon while sending the Kinsect out in the straight line in front of you, which is the same as Harvest Extract, except you cannot aim precisely where it will go. As usual, neutral left mouse will ready your weapon without attacking or sending the Kinsect. As you noticed, the top left of your screen also displays some information related to the Kinsect. This yellow bar here represents the Kinsect's own stamina, and as long as the Kinsect is not resting on your arm, its stamina bar will continue to drain itself, and yes, that includes leaving it out there doing nothing. The Kinsect will automatically fly back to you when it runs completely out of stamina, and will slowly recover its stamina when it stays on your arm. Sheathing your weapon will also have the Kinsect automatically flying back to you, so this includes clutching onto monsters in any way since it always sheathes your weapon. However, if you perform a manual recall before it runs out of stamina, it will also recover an extra portion of its stamina upon returning to you, and doing it multiple times will quickly refill its stamina. You should also notice that when hovering your aiming reticle over a target, it becomes a larger yellow reticle, because sending your Kinsect towards a monster will have the Kinsect deal one hit of damage when it touches the monster, and this happens each time you click again. However, one of the primary purposes of sending your Kinsect towards a monster is not only to deal damage, but also to harvest extracts, which explains the name of the move. Each time a Kinsect hits a monster, it will also collect and hold onto an extract, represented by the color glowing on the Kinsect itself, as well as the color of the bug icon here. The Kinsect can only hold on to one extract at a time, so if it obtains a different type of extract by hitting a different part before returning to you, it will replace the previous extract. When the Kinsect returns to you either automatically, or through a manual recall, the extract it is currently carrying will be transferred to the hunter as a beneficial buff for the hunter, which lights up its corresponding buff slot as seen here. There are three types of buff extracts represented by different colors and numbers, which are the red extract, white extract, and the orange extract, and you can gather them in any order you like. Different extract types are obtained by the Kinsect when hitting different body parts of the monster, and this differs from monster to monster. Typically, the red extract is obtained from the monster's attacking body part, which is very often the head of the monster. Sometimes this includes the front limbs too. The white extract is typically obtained from the body part that provides mobility, which is generally either the wings, or the legs, or even both. The orange extract is typically obtained from tougher parts like the back, as well as the chest and body. For some monsters you can get orange from the legs, or the tail, even the horns. This is just a general guideline, but remember that it is different for every monster, so you'll need to try it yourself. There is also a fourth extract, which is the green extract, and is often obtained from the tail, but this is not available on every monster. The green extract does not provide buffs, but will heal the hunter's health when the Kinsect returns to you. As for the red, white and orange extracts, each one you receive will provide different beneficial buffs. Now let's go through them one by one. The red extract, when collected on its own, will modify most of your attacks, replacing your weaker moves with stronger and better moves. We will be looking at these attacks in their own chapter. The white extract, when collected on its own, will improve your movement speed on the ground with your weapon drawn. It also improves your vaulting height, and jumping higher will allow you to travel further too, resulting in better aerial mobility. The orange extract, when collected on its own, will improve your defense by 5%, and also provide you with flinch-free when you are attacking. The extracts also provide combination bonuses on top of their individual effects. Red plus white will provide you with a 10% attack bonus. White plus orange will improve the orange defense bonus from 5% to 10%. Red plus orange has no bonuses. When all three extracts are collected, the attack bonus becomes 15%, while keeping all the previous effects. You will also notice all your attacks having a red glow and sound effect when you have the triple buff. When only one or two extracts are collected, they will each last for a different amount of time and runs on separate timers. Red lasts for 90 seconds, white lasts for 120 seconds and orange lasts for 150 seconds. The icons will start flashing when the buff is close to expiring. You can refresh each extract's duration before they expire by collecting the extract again. However, the moment you collect all three extracts, all three of them will refresh to a shared duration of 90 seconds. While the triple buff is active, you also will not be able to refresh any of the buffs until all three of them expire together. Recalling your Kinsect for extracts when you have the triple buff will just waste the extract it has collected. However, once you see the flashing icons, you can have your Kinsect collect an extract ahead of time without recalling it, and then recall it the moment your buffs expire to quickly regain the buff. Power Prolonger is a great skill to have, since it extends the duration of these buffs. The flinch-free skill also has special effects when you have all three buffs active, which I will explain in the summary. Aside from manually controlling the Kinsect, you can also have the Kinsect continuously perform auto attacks on the monster by marking the monster part you want your Kinsect to attack. You can mark your target with a melee attack that does a single hit of blunt damage. Or you can use the same button while aiming your Kinsect to fire a projectile that will mark the part from further away. The Kinsect will then automatically attack the marked part at fixed intervals, dealing damage and collecting extracts as usual, and can chase the target as far as it goes until it runs out of stamina or gets recalled. When auto-attacking, each hit it lands will also leave a dust cloud around. Attacks and slingers can detonate these dust clouds, causing them to apply their dust effects. The detonated dust cloud can also trigger nearby dust clouds and cause them to detonate, but not if they are too far away. These effects will differ based on the type of dust, which is tied to the type of Kinsect you use. There are 4 types of dust clouds that provide different effects when you detonate them. Blast dusts are orange, and detonating them will deal 10 damage each, and builds up the blast status ailment. Paralysis dusts are yellow, and detonating them will deal 3 damage each, and builds up paralysis. Poison dusts are purple, and detonating them will deal 5 damage each, and builds up poison. Healing dusts are green, and will not deal any damage when detonated, but will heal all nearby friendly units instead. The dust stays in the area and disappears after 60 seconds if you do not detonate them. You can only have a maximum of 7 dust clouds floating around if you do not detonate them. The oldest one will disappear when the Kinsect creates an 8th dust cloud, so it's best to detonate them before they get replaced. The type of dust a Kinsect carries also determines the rate of its auto attacks, and this attack rate basically means how frequently it will attack, controlled by a cooldown between each attack. During the cooldown, the Kinsect spins around before initiating the next attack. The longer this cooldown, the slower the attack rate, which also means slower dust clouds creation. The blast and poison dust Kinsects have the fastest attack rate at every 3 seconds, followed by paralysis at every 4 seconds, and heal is the slowest at every 5.5 seconds. Attack rate is not the only factor determining the overall attack speed though. For example, both of these Kinsects have blast dust and the same 3 seconds cooldown between each attack. But one has a faster flying speed and attack animation, so it will reach its target first and start its 3 seconds cooldown earlier, resulting in faster overall attack speed. This difference in flying speed will be explained in the next part. Next we will be looking at the Kinsect types. You can nurture and upgrade your Kinsects at the smithy like your other equipment to improve their stats, and they are tied to different upgrade trees as well. The tree is primarily split into 2 major compartments. The top part consists of Kinsects that deal cutting damage, aka sever damage, and they branch from the cauldron. The bottom part consists of Kinsects that deal blunt damage, and they branch from the mauldron. If you need a completely new Kinsect, go to Purchase Kinsect and purchase a new cauldron or mauldron for their respective trees. After that you can find them in Nurture Kinsects, where you can upgrade them into the Kinsect you want. You can check the stats of each of these Kinsects, including some things we mentioned earlier such as their raw damage type being sever or blunt, as well as the type of dust effects they carry. Other stats include their elements, which are none by default, followed by 3 important stats to look at. Power determines how much raw damage the Kinsect deals when hitting a monster. Higher level means higher damage. The Kinsect's attack is not affected by your weapon's attack stats in any way, and Kinsects cannot score critical hits, but the Kinsect's attacks will heal you if your weapon has the health regen augment. The Kinsect is also able to break parts, so feel free to use it like a ranged attack. Speed determines the flying speed and attack animation speed that was mentioned before. Higher level means faster Kinsect. The heal stat determines how much they heal the hunter when they gather a green extract, and also how quickly the Kinsect regenerates its own stamina. Higher level means more heal and stamina recovery. You will not find any Kinsects that have all 3 stats at max level, which is level 20, so you have to pick based on what you want. While the Kinsects have no element by default and only do raw damage, you can actually give them elemental attacks by going into Kinsect elements. This will add a fixed level of elemental damage for the chosen element, but will also reduce the power level, which means reduced raw damage. In general, this does lead to higher total damage when used against monsters with the correct elemental weakness. The elemental level is predetermined based on the Kinsect. Higher level not only means more elemental damage, but also means higher effectiveness for dust clouds, such as the status build-up and heal amount from dust detonation. This dust cloud effectiveness will automatically use the predetermined elemental level even if you do not actually add elements to the Kinsect. You can use any Kinsect you like based on your own preferred stats, damage type and dust type. But here are some commonly used ones. Foliacath 3/4s for maximum speed and decent damage, because high-speed Kinsects are best at gathering extracts quickly. Vezirstag 3/4s for high damage and slow speed, and slow Kinsects deal extra damage through extra hits on certain moves which I will explain later. Next, let's look at the ability to charge your Kinsect, which is only available with Iceborne. If you have any slinger ammo equipped, you can press double mouse while aiming your Kinsect to perform a Kinsect Charge, which will power up your Kinsect with some useful buffs. This can be done regardless if your Kinsect is currently active or resting on your arm, but will always end with your Kinsect resting. Charging will consume one slinger ammo and provide different benefits to your Kinsect based on the type of slinger ammo you used. The first type of buff is the power buff, which will show a red icon here. The power buff improves your Kinsect's raw damage by a large amount, and its elemental damage by a massive amount. It also improves the attack rate of the Kinsect during auto attacks, increasing its attack frequency. It also boosts the effectiveness of the dust clouds, such as the status build-up and healing amount. Lastly, it also increases individual extract durations, but not the duration when all three are active. Charging the Kinsect counts as recalling it, so it will get the recall stamina recovery when you are done charging. The second type of buff is the spirit buff, which will show a yellow icon here. Charging the spirit buff fully restores your Kinsect stamina and doubles your Kinsect's maximum stamina. Your Kinsect stamina recovery and recall bonus is also doubled. Lastly, it also increases individual extract durations, and unlike the power buff, the spirit buff also improves the duration when all three extracts are active. As mentioned, the slinger ammo you used will determine which buff your Kinsect gets, and will also determine the duration of said buff. Natural slinger ammo you can find in the environment such as stones, red pits, torch pods, bright moss, scatter nuts, crystal bursts and puddle pods will give your Kinsect the spirit buff. Slinger ammo that drop from monsters such as dragon pods, bomb pods, piercing pods, and thorn pods will give your Kinsect the power buff, and the durations are shown here as well. As usual, the icons will start flashing when the buff is about to expire, and you can refresh the duration of your power or spirit buffs before they expire, but only up to the duration provided by the new ammo used. Only one type of buff can be active at a time. Feeding it an ammo that provides the other buff will simply override it. But there is a way to get both the power and spirit buff at the same time, which is really good, and I will talk about it in the next part. Aside from the buff, charging your Kinsect also allows it to hold up to 2 extracts instead of 1, with the newest replacing the oldest, so it can collect 2 different extracts before returning to you. This benefit is available regardless of which buff was given to the Kinsect. Hitting the same part twice will make it hold 2 of the same extracts, but you get no extra benefit from this. Self-made ammo such as flash, screamer, or dung pods cannot be used for charging. But if equipped along with other usable ammo, you will automatically unequip the self-made ammo, and charge with the usable ammo instead. Finally, the last part about Kinsects is the Kinsect bonuses, also called Kinsect boosts. The type of Kinsect bonus you get is not determined by Kinsect type, but is determined by your weapon of choice. But as its name suggests, the bonus only benefits the Kinsect, not your weapon. You can see what type of Kinsect bonus is provided by the glaive of your choice. There are 7 types of bonuses. The Sever boost improves the sever damage dealt by your Kinsect, so if you are equipping a blunt Kinsect, this boost has no effect. The blunt boost is the same but improves blunt damage dealt by your Kinsect instead. Element boost will improve the elemental damage dealt by your Kinsect. Speed boost improves the Kinsect speed, which is the flying speed and attack animation speed. Stamina boost reduces the stamina drain while the Kinsect is active, and improves the stamina recovery when it is resting. It also increases the amount of extra stamina recovered from a manual recall. This extra recall bonus also gets doubled with the spirit buff. Health boost increases the amount of heal provided by a green extract, but not green dusts. When upgraded to master rank, all stamina or health boost glaives get their benefits combined into a single boost known as stamina upgrade and healing. Lastly, the spirit and strength boost allows your Kinsect to gain both the power buff and spirit buff from any slinger ammo type, and is the only way to have both buffs active at once, so it's really good. This is only available in Master rank as well. While you get both buffs from any slinger ammo, the duration will still be different based on their ammo type. Kindly refer to the earlier part for their durations. Now that we're done with the Kinsects, we can finally start to talk about the weapon attacks, starting from the ground attacks. As mentioned before, having the red extract buff will modify and replace most of your weaker attacks with stronger attacks. Since the red extract will completely prevent you from accessing the weaker attacks, I will not be going through them. Firstly, when your weapon is sheathed, forward left mouse will perform a draw attack in the form of a leaping slash, which will move you forward and hits once. If your weapon is drawn, you can also perform the leaping slash by using forward right mouse instead. Right mouse after leaping slash will lead into the tornado slash. The tornado slash moves you forward, and hits twice with high damage, especially the second hit, and can hit behind you too. The tornado slash is your highest damage ground attack and will be used a lot, and most of your combos should work towards this attack. But this attack is slow because it can only be accessed after other attacks, and the second hit has some hit lag. If your weapon is sheathed, then leaping slash is the fastest way to reach tornado slash. Tornado slash also trips your teammates. Left mouse after leaping slash will instead give you the strong rising slash combo. The strong rising slash combo can also be used on its own with neutral left mouse. This attack hits 3 times and only has a tiny forward movement. It has moderate speed and damage, and can be chained into tornado slash with right mouse, and this is actually a good combo for medium openings. Forward left mouse on its own will give you the strong thrust instead, which is a quick 2-hit attack that moves you forward slightly. So it's important to know when to include your directional input or not. The strong thrust is much faster, but deals less damage, and cannot be chained into tornado slash with right mouse. Instead, neutral right mouse after strong thrust will lead into a strong wide sweep, a fast attack that moves you forward slightly, and hits twice with decent damage. Right mouse after strong wide sweep will then lead into tornado slash. Compared to the previous combo, this combo is only slightly slower and moves you forward slightly more, but deals more damage, so it's one of the better options. The strong wide sweep can also be used on its own with neutral right mouse, useful as a quick attack for small openings. Since this skips the strong thrust, it also becomes a faster way to reach the tornado slash. But do be reminded that if a forward input is included, it becomes a leaping slash as mentioned before. This actually applies after the strong thrust as well. If you use forward plus right mouse, you will get the leaping slash instead of strong wide sweep. However, left and right directions plus right mouse still gives you the strong wide sweep. Left mouse after strong wide sweep leads back to the strong rising slash combo, but will hit one extra time with a bridging slash in between both attacks. This is yet another method to reach tornado slash if you wish. Left mouse after both the strong rising slash combo, or strong thrust, will lead into the strong reaping slash, which is a 2-hit attack. Left mouse again after strong reaping slash will lead into the strong double slash, which will move you forward and hits 3 times despite its name. The strong double slash is your left mouse combo finisher, so you cannot chain it into any left mouse attacks, but you can chain into tornado slash yet again with right mouse. This is the longest possible combo to reach tornado slash, so while it deals a lot of total damage, it is generally too slow to be used. Much like after a strong thrust, right mouse after a strong reaping slash leads to strong wide sweep, but forward right mouse leads to leaping slash instead. While tornado slash is your right mouse combo finisher, and cannot be chained into any right mouse attacks, you can use left mouse instead to chain into a strong thrust. This allows the combo to continue, and allows you to loop one of the best damage combos, which is tornado slash into strong thrust, strong wide sweep, and back into tornado slash, and you can repeat this when monsters are down. After any left mouse attacks, backwards plus right mouse will perform the dodge slash, leaping backwards while hitting once. You can use the leap to avoid attacks or reposition, but this leap does not have iframes despite its name. It cannot be used after right mouse attacks including itself. Left mouse after dodge slash leads to a strong rising slash combo. Right mouse after dodge slash leads into tornado slash yet again, and this is useful for avoiding attacks and retaliating with a tornado slash. Or simply to reposition backwards if your forward moving attacks messed up your positioning. Next we will talk about the aerial attacks. You can use vault anytime on the ground to launch yourself into the air, which will cost some stamina, and you can vault towards any direction. You can actually hold down this button first, even while moving around, before adding the dodge button to vault. After attacks, you can only vault towards 4 directions, which is forward, left, right and back. The momentum from vaulting makes you travel towards the chosen direction, and adding a direction mid-air cannot influence this. If you hold forward while vaulting towards certain walls and vines, the hunter will hang on to the wall while recovering stamina. While hanging onto walls, you can either drop down, or jump up, or jump away. Either way, you can continue to perform aerial moves after jumping off. Vaulting can be used to jump over objects or onto higher ground, and can even be used to avoid ground-based monster attacks as long as you vault high enough, which can often be followed up with an aerial attack. Remember that the white extract improves your vaulting height. You are not invulnerable in the air though, so be mindful. Now let's talk about all your aerial moves. Keep in mind that all the aerial moves can be performed as long as you are mid-air, and not necessarily from vaulting only, but I will show most of them from vaulting. When you are mid-air, you can perform a mid-air evade which will cost some stamina. This can be used in 4 directions, which are forward, left, right, and back. You can only use the dodge once, each time you are in the air, but can still use other aerial moves after dodging. Dodging towards these walls and vines will allow you to hang on as well. This dodge has iframes and allows you to dodge attacks and roars while in the air, and can be improved by evade window and extender. You can use it for repositioning, or dodging while gap closing, but be mindful that it creates a lot of forward momentum towards the chosen direction. While in the air, left mouse will perform the strong jumping slash that causes you to spin downwards, hitting multiple times on the way down. Every single hit will build up mounting, so this is your best choice if you want to mount monsters. This move does not cost stamina, and you can use it at any direction, but it won't make much difference since you spin downwards either way. This can be used as a draw attack if you are jumping with your weapon sheathed. Without the red extract, this attack is a single hit jumping slash. While in the air, right mouse will perform the strong jumping advancing slash which will cost some stamina and moves you forward, and you can use this towards any direction as well, even after dodging the other way. It hits 6 times in total, and if the final hit successfully hits anything, you will automatically perform the vaulting dance, which will launch you back into the air. After that, you can use any aerial moves, including dodging again, repeating the strong jumping advancing slash, or just using something else. The vaulting dance can only happen up to 4 times, so the 5th advancing slash will not trigger a vaulting dance, and you will land on the ground even if your final hit connects. You also don't get the vaulting dance if you run out of stamina. While this attack is not that strong, and spamming it is not really efficient, it still has its uses, and can be used to extend your air time if you need to avoid the ground while dealing some damage. The forward movement can help with aerial repositioning too. Only the last hit of this move will build up some mounting. Without the red extract, this is a single hit jumping advancing slash. Left mouse after landing from both moves will give you the strong thrust, and right mouse gives you the strong wide sweep. Now onto your strongest aerial move, the descending thrust, which I will just call DT. This move is only available with Iceborne. The DT will cost some stamina, and have the hunter thrusting downwards, hitting once in the air, and once when you land. After landing, the hunter will continue to attack twice, with the first hit dealing blunt damage. These two attacks are part of the same move, so you cannot cancel it early. DT can be used as a draw attack if you jump with your weapon sheathed. The DT can be used in any direction to improve your accuracy. While the forward momentum always causes you to travel forward regardless, using DT towards the side or back can reduce the forward momentum slightly, and adding a forward direction can make it go slightly further ahead. This is especially true after a mid-air evade, where the forward momentum is increased tremendously, so you might need to DT backwards to prevent yourself from going too far. The two hits that come after landing can be controlled with a separate direction as well. This is important because right mouse after DT will lead into the tornado slash. Combining the high damage of DT and tornado slash makes this combo extremely good when the opening allows for it, so it will be used very often. DT can also be chained into a dodge slash with backwards plus right mouse, or strong double slash with left mouse. Another thing that makes DT so strong is the Kinsect drill. The Kinsect drill refers to the Kinsect performing a dive bomb towards you after a DT, hitting multiple times while piercing through the monster, collecting extracts and dealing a lot of damage in the process. As long as the Kinsect is resting on your arm when you use the DT, it will automatically follow up with a drill, so be sure to recall it before using DT. If the Kinsect is already out there when DT is used, it will not follow up with the drill. The two ground strikes after landing from DT will also mark the target you hit, so the Kinsect will perform auto attacks on the marked target, regardless of whether it did the drill or not. As shown before, the drill will hit more times with slower Kinsects, due to the slower travel time when they pierce through monsters, which is the main reason that makes slow Kinsects useful. The DT is always the same attack and won't be affected by the red extract, and DT does not build up mounting at all. Speaking of mounting, the insect glaive has a specialty when mounting. Each time you move between spots when mounting, you will hit the monster 4 times with your weapon. The mounting finisher will also hit 4 times. While in the air, you can also use the slinger aim button to perform a mid-air claw attack, which is basically a melee ranged clutch claw used in the air. The clutch claw is only available if you own Iceborne. The mid-air clutch claw does not provide any sort of bonus compared to using the clutch claw normally, but will allow you to quickly claw onto monsters when you are mid-air, and this proves to be useful sometimes. Your clutch claw weapon attack will hit 5 times and send you flying backwards, only the last hit can break parts. It will drop slinger ammo, but only builds up 75% of the tenderize debuff, so you need to do it twice to tenderize a part. Since each slap builds up 20% tenderize, 2 slaps and 1 weapon attack will tenderize a part, though you can still use 3 slaps to enrage a monster. As usual, the clutch claw boost skill allows you to tenderize in one use. While sliding on a slope, left mouse will perform the strong jumping advancing slash. Or you can just jump while sliding to use the strong jumping slash. Finally, a combat summary as usual to finish up the video. The general flow of the insect glaive revolves around harvesting and maintaining the triple extract buffs while performing your attacks. You can also choose to obtain only the red and white extracts first, and obtain the orange extract later to refresh all 3. Do not underestimate your Kinsect's importance in a fight, keep your Kinsect charged, and bring the right Kinsect for the right job. While this weapon is widely promoted as an aerial weapon, your ground attack combos are actually more effective and efficient at dishing out damage. However, that does not mean you won't be using aerial attacks at all. You will often be vaulting into the air either to avoid ground-based monster attacks, or mainly to use DT and the Kinsect drill. Remember, you can use mid-air evade once in the air to dodge or reposition, and familiarize yourself with the directional momentum of each move to accurately land your attacks. Speaking of accuracy, learning to aim your DT accurately is important if you want to improve your gameplay. DT sends you back to the ground, where you continue your ground combos, and combos that lead to tornado slash will be your bread and butter. While constantly staying in the air with your aerial combos may not be the most efficient, there are still some uses to them, especially when you need a higher reach, or aerial repositioning, or simply to extend air time. More importantly, if you are having fun with the aerial moves, then just go ahead and have fun with them. Aside from the usual offensive and defensive skills, here are some useful skills for the Kinsect Glaive. Power Prolonger will extend your extract buffs, so it's really useful. As mentioned before, Flinch Free also provides special bonuses when your triple buff is active. Each level of Flinch Free will provide one level of earplugs, wind resistance, and tremor resistance, and these will stack with the actual original skills. Flinch Free also provides extra knockback reduction when the triple buff is active. For example, with one level of Flinch Free and the triple buff active, you are immune to trips, and upswings become a normal knockback. But you will not be able to use aerial attacks from these normal knockbacks. With 3 levels of Flinch Free and the triple buff, specific attacks that would usually pin you, would only become a normal knockback instead of a pin. Airborne increases damage for all your aerial attacks, but for DT, it only improves the first hit, so it depends on how much you use aerial attacks. With that being said, I will end this video here. Hopefully this helps you understand the Kinsect Glaive better. Thank you for your time, and thanks for watching.